Hello and welcome to the Irish EV Owners Association YouTube channel. My name is Guillaume and I'm doing a special appearance today because I could get my hands on a new Renault Megane electric. I'm not reviewing cars anymore, but this is actually my father's car. He's had it for a couple of months now, so this is an opportunity for me to take a quick spin. I need to go to Van, which is about 150 kilometers from here, I think. So it's also going to be a range test. I've driven the car a bit before, and so yeah, I think now it's a good opportunity to do a little video about it, because I know many of you are interested in this car, which is supposed to arrive in Ireland very soon. It's been on sale in France here since June. My parents ordered it in June and they got it in around October, late October. So yes, that's about it. Let's go for a tour of the car now. So first I would like to say that as you know, versions differ depending on countries, and I had a look at the French range and the Irish range, and it's quite different. So this very car, you cannot have it as such in Ireland. But let me tell you, this is an iconic version. Iconic is the top trim. At the moment it doesn't exist in Ireland. There is a launch edition version which is maybe a bit similar to this one, but there are important differences. I'm going to go through those differences anyway. So this is a top trim, also the most powerful engine battery, so that's 60 kilowatt hours and 220 horsepower. There is a 40 kilowatt hour version and that has 130 horsepower, and that is available as well. That's the base models. So yeah, top trim and top battery. There is also a various combination of chargers here that you don't have in Ireland, which is great. Renault Ireland has done a great idea of putting the 22 kilowatt AC charger as standard. This is an option here, and they haven't checked the box. This actually has a 7 kilowatt AC charger. I'll go through this in a moment, tell you why they made that decision to take this 7 kilowatt charger, even though I, of course, would have advised otherwise, but let's go through it. So first, the looks of the car. The car is 4.20 meters in length. So it's about 10 centimeters longer than the Renault Zoe, a 177 in width, which is not very wide. And this is narrower than the outgoing Megane. I think it's great that newer cars are a bit narrower. It looks a bit like a crossover. Some might say that from the side because of big wheels and the black wheel arches that you don't really see here because the car is dark blue. But actually this is 1.5 meter in height, so it's actually not that tall. It's 5 centimeters lower than the Renault Zoe, so it's not really, some people say SUV. It's absolutely not an SUV. It's a hatchback that looks a bit like a crossover SUV. It has a great looks. Let me go to the side there. All right. So this version has a black roof and a blue body. You might have seen on the launch edition a gold blade in the front and in the back as well. There are some gold elements. My parents actually opted out for this as a free option. You can have it body colored. They preferred it. So, and that's it. And the wheels are the same as the launch edition. Each trim has a different set of wheels. So here it is. The charging port is located here. The car is closed. I'm not sure it opens. No, not really. There we go. So it automatically opens, and you can see immediately that actually the handles deploy when getting close to the car. So that's great. There you go. So this is a charge port, typical CCS. You know, Type 2 on top, and with this extra stuff, CCS in the bottom. The great stuff is that you have here, you can remove your delayed charging for the night if you use public charging, and you can just pressing a button unlock this. So which is great, because sometimes well, I know myself, I drive the Tesla Model 3 and I wish I had this, because sometimes it just doesn't unlock. You have to do it from your phone or from the car, and this is so much more practical. I love this thing. All right, so here's the door. The car is open right now. So this handle deploys. No handles at the back. It's just the same as a Zoe, or as a Clio, or a Twingo for that matter. This one there. You know, it's concealed in the C-pillar. It looks good. Does the job. You might notice the rear window is really narrow. There is an optional rear view camera. They haven't checked that that box. It depends. Some people like it, some people don't. I cannot judge. I just moved away from the car. It does a little dance with the lights in front and the back. It's really nice. You've got those very fancy indicators and lights, so it's really good. There are dark windows here on this one. It's open again. It's very sensitive, as you can see. And here you've got full LEDs, of course. There you go, the little dance again. So now let's get into the interior, just to show you here. This is the rooster, the French rooster. This car is made in France, so they wanted to put this little guy there, and you can see it all times actually when you drive. It's a bit of a funny thing. Yeah, let's go inside. All right, so when you step in the vehicle, you have a little animation there, which is really nice. There you go. And then you've got two massive screens turning on. Unfortunately, in Ireland, the large screen that you see here is not available. You only have a smaller screen, but you get the same functionality. It's just a smaller screen. Yeah, so this version has kind of light gray leather with brown stitching. It looks really great. Again, that's something that's not available in Ireland for the moment, so yeah. And also something quite nice that you got in this version is some wood effects. Well, it's actual wood. It's actual wood, actual leather, actual wood. This one has electric seats, massage seats, driver and passenger in the back. It's roomy enough. Well, there is a baby seat here for the family, but yeah, that's a good family car, as you can see. And I'll show you the boot. So there is just this little button there. It's not power operated, and that's the boot there. It doesn't look very deep because there is a double floor that was an accessory. What is actually extremely deep, there is another layer here, and there's another double floor below. My dad decided to do it this way because it was way too deep for their liking. But the boot itself is 440 liters if you remove that double floor. Well, if you don't take the option. And yeah, that's very large. There you go. Those two handles, very handy, and the hatch is really light, so it's not a problem not to have it power operated. Right, and the camera is just below here the car, so it might get a bit dirty. That's a bit annoying. And the same here for the bottom there to open the hatch. It might get a bit dirty, so that might not be ideal. All right, let's step in. So really nice interior. You have this kind of felt in there, like the good old Volkswagen Golf that I did like at the time. The Golf doesn't have this anymore, but this Renault does. Yeah, so all electric stuff there, all nice and fancy. And then stepping in the car, so you've got the animation again. There you go. It's quite nice. All right, so we are here with 100%. I'm gonna enter the destination in the sat nav of the car. This is Google Automotive, one of the first car to get that. basically you've got Google Maps within the car. So it's great, it's connected, it shows everything. Here I can already see that there is a shopping mall and I will arrive with 99% and work. This is not my work, but 83% destination. And so here I'm gonna say something in French. Let's see if it sends me to the correct destination. Ok Google, allez à 95 avenue Édouard Herriot, 56 000 Vannes.
Le lieu, 95 avenue du Président Édouard Herriot, se trouve à 1h18 de route de votre position dans une circulation fluide.
Okay, so she just told me that there was no much traffic, and it was 1 hour 18 minutes to get there. So you can see, just like a Tesla, it's going to be 59% at destination, that's battery level, and 17 when I'm back here. We'll see if this is true. I might drive a bit differently, so I would expect a bit less than that. But yeah, that's basically it. Here, this address is actually a Renault dealer in Vannes, where I'm going to see a car which is not a Renault. Funny is that, right? So yeah, that's the trip. So we'll see if it's fine. 120 kilometers only, so that should be quite easy. And we'll see how much it consumes. So this is mostly 110 kilometers an hour motorway. So there are a few sections at 90 or 70, but it's like 80% 110. Just to give you an idea, so that's similar to an Irish motorway drive. So let me give you some impression of the car. First, forgive me, I'm going to compare this car to the Tesla Model 3 for a simple reason. Is first, let's face it, it's a benchmark, especially the rear-wheel drive, which has the same battery size as this car. It is a bit more expensive than the Megane, but also I'm using it as a point of comparison because I own one. So when I drive this Megane, I can immediately say, oh, this is better than the Model 3, or this is not as good as the Model 3. First, what struck me from driving on the motorway here is that the cruise control, so the autopilot, as Tesla calls it, is here very pleasant. First, you don't have those ding dong when you just engage it and disengage it. It's very smooth. So for this, but the Tesla is very smooth as well. So there's no issue with that. This car is actually quieter at lower speed anyway. So it's sort of nice. You can probably hear me well here. And there is a key element, is that when you change lane, so here is a busy motorway, you change lane all the time, the adaptive cruise control disengage just the time for you to change lane, but re-engages automatically. With the Model 3 you have to re-engage it every time you change lane. So if you're driving alone on an empty motorway, it doesn't make much difference. But if you make a lot of changes like this, changing lanes, that is really good. Another interesting thing is that, like any car with adaptive cruise control, you need to touch the steering wheel once in a while to tell the car that you're still in control. In the Model 3, you've got to force it a bit, so you got to turn slightly the steering wheel. With this one, you just have to touch it. So if your hands are on the steering wheel, it's perfectly enough. And it's you just have to do this. You don't have to do any more than that, and that's very pleasant, and that makes the trip a bit more relaxing than the trip in the Tesla. In terms of steering, the Tesla Model 3 is a bit better. I've noticed a couple of times the Megane is almost playing ping pong with the lanes. So it doesn't center as well as good as the Model 3. So that's a difference for me, and the Model 3 is seeing the lines, even though they don't exist sometimes. And so the Model 3 is really superior on that. So one thing I really liked on this car is that when you have a car in front of you on the dual carriageway that exits the motorway, and your car will slow down, and when the car is completely off your lane, the Model 3 takes a while to reaccelerate, and it's sometimes a bit frustrating because you're like, come on, accelerate now, and sometimes they even brake and get really not close enough, and that's something that's not very smooth in your driving. This doesn't do it. It kind of anticipates a bit the way a driver would do, so I kind of like it. It's one detail that is good. Overall, this system is quite impressive because Renault doesn't really brag about their level 2 autopilot, but it's actually very good. So great stuff on this. This model has it has adaptive cruise control with auto steer. Not all Meganes have it, so the base models wouldn't have it, so have a look at the option list. You have lots of systems helping you to drive better way. Check that list as well, because there are plenty of versions, and depending on the country it might be a bit different. In terms of driving, you've got 3 drive modes. You've got Eco, Comfort and Sport. So those are preset drive modes, and there is an extra one that is called Perso. That's a personal thing, and you can adjust everything you like in. You can adjust the steering, the accelerator response, the heating thing, and so you do it your way. That's fine. This is good. Something I like about that is the region can be changed. So you have flappy paddles behind the steering wheel, and you can adjust 3 different levels. So again, something the Tesla doesn't have it. However, you cannot do full one pedal driving with this car. Just like the Zoe, it just crawls a bit under maybe 8 kilometers an hour or something. So it never comes to a complete stop. It's a bit of a shame, I think. The one pedal driving is really something very pleasant that many EV drivers like. This doesn't have. But at least you can adjust the regen. You can have a higher regen if you're driving around the city, and a slower if you're driving on faster roads. So that's a good thing. The car is very comfortable. It is more comfortable than the Model 3. The seats are just as good. Model 3 seats are very good. But those seats are very good. They are all the same seats. The material is different, but the shape is the same. So it would be the similar comfort on the lower trims. Handling is great. It's quite surprising. The steering is very sharp in sport mode, and it's it's not like any typical Renault you might have driven in the past. It's closer to the Renault Sports Renaults than the regular Zoe or Clio, whatever you've been driving, and regular Megane. So that's quite good. So all in all, it's a very good driving experience. The comfort is great and handling is great. Unfortunately, the car is front-wheel drive, not rear-wheel drive. So that means that the car doesn't have an amazing traction. And what Renault does, they limit the power at very slow speed, so you don't have this kick when you launch the car. But then it picks up the power very easily, and when at higher speed, it's very responsive, similar to the Model 3, despite having 220 horsepower, which is less than the Model 3. So yeah, that's quite positive for when you're faster. But when you just pick up at the traffic light or something like this, it's not super impressive. 0 to 100 is 7.3 seconds. Another thing that's pretty good is that you might have just seen it on the video. When 2 lanes merge together and you're on the slower of the 2, in this case, you might have seen, the car just stays there even though there are no more lines, and it just sticks to the, in this case, the right line. Whereas the Model 3, from the time there is no more marking in between those two lanes, it kind of takes the whole width and goes into the middle and does a bit of this. And but this doesn't. It stays just the way you would want to do. It sticks to the original lane. So that's a thumbs up for this. Okay, so I just arrived in Van. So we've done 119.6 kilometers, and we've used only 36% of battery. So that was pessimistic. So, and the gasometer tells us we can still do another 211 kilometers. It's supposed to be quite pessimistic. So at 17.2, it's quite good. Not as good as Model 3. Model 3 might do maybe 15, 16 in similar conditions. There's a lot of rain now. I drove a bit slower, but there's no wind, and temperature is about 12 degrees. So wintry conditions, but nothing mad. And 17.2 is quite good compared to other non-Tesla EVs or non-efficient Hyundai EVs. So good about that. We'll see how much we have at the end, but basically it tells us we can do around 300 kilometers easily of dual carriageway motorway in winter, so probably a bit more in summer, so maybe 350. WLTP is given 450 or 432 if you have the 20-inch wheels like this one. 450 would be if you have the 18-inch wheels. In comparison, the Model 3 at the moment is 510 on the standard 18-inch wheels with the wheel covers, and if you opt for the 19, it's a bit less. It's less than 500, I think 490. I can't remember exactly. So now we are ready to go back. I'm gonna show you something a bit funky. This is Waze. Waze is available as an app. So here in the navigation system, you've got the apps and you've got Waze. I previously downloaded from the Play Store because it's all about Google. So I've got this, and this is my destination, 119 kilometers to go home. But you've got here, if I click here you've got, this is Apple Maps. No one uses this, but just to say it's available because my phone is actually wirelessly charging, and it is wirelessly connected, so through Apple CarPlay. So this is Apple CarPlay, or if you have Android phone, that will be Android Auto in this section. So here we've got the apps, here that, and here you've got Google. At the moment, I've got 3 destinations entered in 3 different parts of the car, and they all work at the same time. It sounds crazy. I know some people, they like to have 2 different systems just to pick the best or whatever, to compare. Maybe they change their opinion or the plan, but basically this works. And it's a bit pointless, let's face it, but you know, it's funny to see it available. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to Waze because I like Waze. I'm gonna test it on my way back, but the only thing is that Waze doesn't give you the charging features. See, it's just like on your phone, so it's kind of disconnected from the fact that you have an EV or whatever. So that's the only thing. Whereas if you use Google Maps, you have all this percentage at destination, and you have the charge points on the way. If you have a long distance trip, it will tell you to charge here, etc., just like in the Tesla. So that's the only downside from Waze. But in terms of traffic, Waze is pretty good. The only thing is, like, you have to do 2 taps and not just one when you go there. But yeah, look here, you've got your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. I've got my Spotify here, but I can, so this is from my phone again, but if I go here, I also have Spotify here, and actually it goes to that menu, which is a music menu. So it might be a bit confusing, but it kind of works well, and as you can see, the system is quite smooth. So we are just arrived there. Now it's a bit night, it's 6 p.m. We've done another 119 kilometers with 17.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers of consumption. So that's similar to the way up. We have 26% left. So that's quite good. That means that we can do. We've done 240, and we can do over 300 kilometers with a full tank of electricity. So I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Give us a thumbs up, please, as well. It helps the algorithm. And I hope you have a great holiday, or you had a great holiday. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.